Hey everybody, welcome back to the Jack Herrera Cup 2020 here in Amsterdam, and we're very excited to be able to have a beautiful roundtable discussion today with a couple of great VIPs. And this is called the 710 Special Podcast, and I think to start off we're going to begin by introducing some of our VIPs, and to begin with we have one of the great legends, one of the top of all time, Mila Jansen, the Hash Queen, is joining us. And coming from Family First Coffeeshop, we have Mauro, and we have from Mr. Resin, our man Stefano. Back again. Hey guys. And we're really excited to be here today to have this great group. And on top of being able to have a great roundtable discussion, we also have some amazing samples of some extracts and some hash and a fantastic cultivar of some kosher kush to sample a little bit later. Okay. So to get started, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming and joining us. And if it's okay, I'd like to start with Mia. Mia, you are a legend here, and everybody knows you here. And for some of our viewers that are coming in from North America and from other parts of the world that may not know of your history, could you maybe start off by telling us, how did you get the name the Hash Queen?
The Hash Queen was given to me in an article in the High Times in the late 90s. I was interviewed, and when I got the magazine, suddenly it said Hash Queen with great big letters at the top of the article. So it took off from there. But basically I think it's for inventing the Pollinator, which gave a lot of people the possibility to start making their own hash. Because hash has been around for thousands of years, but it was always a manual activity over a screen, over silk. Some places they rubbed the buds, but it was always done by hand. So this was the first mechanical way that people could separate the crystals from the plant material.
Right. And if your motivation for creating the Pollinator came from something around the house, right?
The motivation for creating was that I wanted to smoke good hash.
Yeah, there you go.
And I didn't like what was available in the Amsterdam coffee shops at that time so much. And I was growing weed, a very nice weed, people told me, because I never smoked weed. So I made hash out of that. And then, yes, one night I was doing it on a cold screen and kind of waffling it around. And then one night I was standing at home in front of the clothes dryer, and I realized that those clothes were tumbling inside that machine, exactly what I was trying to do by hand. Yeah. And so the next day we went out and we got a second-hand dryer and took out the heat and just put a piece of the correct screen size around the drum of the washing dryer machine, put a whole bunch of material in, and lo and behold, the crystals came lying at the bottom. Boom. Yeah.
And then the rest, they say, is history at that point. Yeah. There it was. You had created this incredible invention, and then you also created the Bubbleator, right?
Yeah, and first came the Ice-O-Lator. That was the bags. That came after a complicated, expensive machine had been invented, and sadly enough, they were being produced somewhere where they weren't made properly, so all these expensive machines would break within 6 months. And I was just trying to figure out how you can have a bucket of water with a screen halfway through. And I think for having been a tailor, I thought, what about a bag?
Yeah.
And I stitched the first ones myself on my sewing machine. And that's how that started.
And there's another one there, and then the rest is history. Yeah. And it's like that you revolutionized an entire market. And then, but one of the things I found that was very interesting about your history was your history in the Himalayas in India. Mm. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you were kind of indoctrinated and what you learned there?
Well, I must tell you, in '68, I was kind of fed up with Western civilization at that time, and decided to hitchhike to India, and was looking maybe for some more meaningful life. I mean, we didn't go there for a holiday, we went there to start a new life, and the way we wanted to lead it. And there was a great journey. I went through Afghanistan, Pakistan, well, first through Turkey and Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, northern India, later to Nepal, and everywhere people were making hash, and I can't say I was particularly looking how to learn it, but you know, you'd see it happening around you and you'd help out the ladies, and so you learned. So and it was actually my best experience was one time when I was up in Kulu Valley, and some of the sadhus, they're Indian men, or usually men, that have renounced the world and are only interested in finding their spiritual self, God. Anyway, they go up into the mountains, and they all, or these ones were all like, Shiva was their particular god, and he's the god of destruction. He's also the god of hashish. And so these sadhus would go up to the mountains at the right time of year and make the hash basically for themselves and their buddies for the whole year, and then come back next year and rub some more, because they would rub it. That's the tradition in that area. They didn't put it on a screen. Yeah, that way you get charas. Anyway, we went up with these sadhus and up and up and up, and we were about at the tree line, and there they showed us there were kind of little dells in the mountainside, and there was some marijuana plants in there, down there, but not like big like in the valley where they got like 8 meters tall and everything. Sadhus didn't like those plants anyway. They said these were the best plants. They had survived the winter, being so high up it had just been covered with snow. And the second year they grew like bonsais, and woody and scraggly and small leafed and small, fairly small buds also, not these big buds at all. And we rubbed them, and as soon as there was enough on your hands, they'd take it off, put it in a chillum. It's like a funnel, and you smoke it together, and boom, Pollinator.
Yeah.
That's for Shiva. And I must say, coming off that mountain, it was like I'd taken an acid trip or something. Whoa. The colors were so vibrant, and the little brook that was kind of tumbling down the mountainside next to it, the sound was so intense. It was an amazing experience.
And this was just randomly growing, or was it something that had been planted and that been through the years had been cultivated?
I don't know. I think the local plants there were pretty good. And I think it's just being at such an altitude, they get more something sunshine from the sun, whatever it is, and that makes it grow stronger. And, there's less air in between. They say from that altitude the best hash comes. You know? Yeah.
Is that would you say, out of all the hash in the world that you've tasted, sampled, do you, in your head, do you have a top 10 list? Do you have a list of the ones?
I will tell you that the best hash that I've smoked is what I'm smoking right here.
Ooh. Let's open up the auction right now. How much do I hear for that?
What do you have?
Right now.
No, but I tell you, because all the rest was in the past.
Yeah.
It's in the future, but this is what's happening
There you
now.
go.
Right.
There we go.
Good answer.
So this is the best.
Okay, so that gets us around to Buddhism. Did you pick up the Buddhism while you were in India?
I had a teacher. I even studied the language, and I appreciate their philosophies. And I was lucky. I ended up with a Tibetan teacher who was just magnificent. And that's a whole different story.
Yeah. Well, for those of you online, you have to get an opportunity. You want to see her book, which is How I Became the Hash Queen.
Yeah.
And you also have a DVD, right?
Mila's journey.
And it talks all about, she's lived one of the most amazing lives. And the things that she did while she was in the Himalayas and raised 4 kids up there, and then came back here and innovated the hash industry. When you created the Pollinator in the very beginning, it wasn't something that was like went to all the coffee shops and everybody got it right away, right? It was more
actually, the first people we tried to sell some product to thought it was too strong. Could only smoke it late at night. But no, we were more intent on going to grow shops and getting them interested, because that's how the people would be able to get it. And yeah, we'd call all the different grow shops and say, get some weed material in the house. We're coming over to have a cup of coffee, and we'll want to show you something. So we'd go over, and coffee was made, and we'd put the leaves in the machine. And as we were drinking the coffee, you saw suddenly these guys kind of, their heads going closer and closer. They could actually see all the crystals in that weed falling down. So that's how we got to...
How is the first impression? The people have the first, the impression, like he act good. Oh yes, wow, nice innovation product. No, I don't trust.
Because in Holland hash is quite popular.
Yeah.
You know, long before you could get weed here, I started smoking 65.
Yeah.
There was no weed, there was only hash. So they all knew about hash. So then I'd take some of it and press it up in my fingers and show them, and then they recognized it. And
you can make a hash for some trim. You cannot use, otherwise you throw. Right.
Did you have any really super sketchy, scary experiences? I mean, because there were some risky things that you were doing during these times. There must have been something that was, either was borderline scary or something that was amazing to you that...
Well, only one time did I scream like they do in horror movies. Only one time. And this was actually quite scary. We lived in Shantiniketan, which is called the Haven of Peace.
Nice.
And we lived there in the longish building, and I had a door to my room, and the children had a door to their room, and then my friend had a room to the door to the last room. And we were attacked, and I was trying to keep the door closed, which had one of these wonky little things up there, and another little wonky thing here, and that was it. And suddenly they tried to stick a knife through between the doors, and it was lucky that I was aware of they were doing that, or they would have hit me. Anyway, I screamed like I never knew I could. And thank goodness there was a Canadian guy, and he lived about 100 meters away, because all close neighbors, nobody showed their face. And he came, and he was so super smart. He took 2 big sticks, and he had his boots on. So it sounded as if there were 3 or 4 people coming, and everybody ran.
Very smart.
You dodged a bullet.
You
dodged a blade.
Like to have you
act. Scary things I ever experienced.
And who was attacking you?
Huh?
Which guys were attacking you in the house?
They call them dacoits, criminals.
Yeah.
I don't know.
For robbery.
Hoodlums.
Yeah, hoodlums.
I heard a rumor about a museum.
Yeah. Now I happen to have the space. It's about 50 square meters, and I'm so happy to have the idea to put a museum there, man. It's taking all these memorabilia that have been cluttering up my house, that are in the cellar, that are in the shop, that are all over the place. And now they can all be in one place all together. And the idea is to make more like a virtual museum. Right. Because, it's not really a handy place for tourists to come. I mean,
sure.
They're welcome, but I think it'll be more popular as a virtual museum. So,
absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's interesting, and I think that gives us a little bit of a transition here, because I think you mentioned one of the things that would be in your museum was one of the menus from this gentleman's father's original coffee shop.
Yeah, I have an old menu, and it was from before we had the euros, when we still had
the
Yeah, and the whole back side, it says Ice-O-Lator, 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 and the front side, Bush Docter, and then Ice-O-Lator, and about 10 different varieties, and then Pollinator, and 1 variety. The whole list was made up from Dutch hash at that time, when actually most of the hash smoked didn't come from Holland, came from everywhere else.
That's very special.
Yeah, that's hardcore.
A very special menu.
Yes.
So that's coming in the museum.
That's amazing. Nice. You know, the one of the things I'm kind of curious, just to get back for a second. I mean, to do what you did, and I mean, the history here, there's a passion that you have for this plant. How did that...
First moment I smoked it.
Really? Because they usually experience, or it was the very first time you...
Yeah, I had a boyfriend at that time. He was studying medicine, and he was interested to see the effect of hash on a person. So, okay, he went out and bought a matchbox. That's what you bought in those days. I think it was maybe 10 guilders, something like that. Probably came from Lebanon or Turkey or somewhere around there. And the first joint I made, man, I was rolling on the floor laughing. And then I remember I was trying to get to my bed, so I made these cycling motions with my legs lying on the floor, trying to get to the bed. But yeah, from the first toke, love it first toke.
Yeah, love it first toke, and it just stuck with you all the way through. And you know, you're still a daily smoker, and you're a dabber and a partier, and not so much the dabbing. But I heard that you are not afraid of jumping on a dab every once in a while. Well, you know, it's interesting because we were talking about Family First, and for me recently. You know, having gone to all the coffee shops, and then Family First kind of came into existence. And one of the first things I remember coming into Family First was, first of all, a great variety, some wonderful different cultivars. But then there was, I saw a wax there, and I went, there's a wax. I said, there you go. All right. And this is something I'm excited about now. And that's really kind of unique for a lot of the other coffee shops in Amsterdam. So was that, when you decided to open up, was that something that was in the head when you first going to open up, that this is we're going to go in one of these directions?
Yeah, because my father used to do it back in the days to have it on the menu. That's also why you get famous.
Right. That was a Bush Docter, right?
Yeah,
The Bush Docter.
Tradition.
And like many Italians, French, Germans, they knew there's like one of the special places in Amsterdam that have actually wax on the menu. So that's why I thought I just want to go to keep on going like my father did it. And yeah, people like it, still take a dabs.
You know, it's amazing. Almost every single time I go in there, it's funny because it's a new place, yet all the people that are coming in there are all old school people and or their families. So it's like you definitely have this legacy thing that is very pronounced there, which is so cool.
Yeah, it's true. Like some friends of my father, their kids used to come now, so it's like it's funny. Then you speak to their dads, and they used to be friends with my father. You know, it's like also a close community. Right. In Amsterdam, so that's really nice.
For the people that don't know your dad, can you give them a little background?
Yeah, he was the owner of the Bush Docter, and he ran it till 2014 when he passed away.
Right.
And since that, it was a hard time. It changed many things in the shop. It wasn't going like he supposed to do it. And then in 2018, I get the small one at the Amstel, and then I need to change the name, so I changed it into Family First.
How'd you come up with the name?
I used to have a tattoo on my chest who has it, and I like the idea, you know, like coffee shops is a place where people come together and have a joint, and it's like family, you know, it's friendship, see each other every day, so that's why I choose the name.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's cool. Right now, if somebody were arriving today, what would you say would be the products that Family First are really known for?
Of course, the wax we have on the menu. Some different type, different flavors.
Yeah, I see. Also, you have rosin sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes rosin.
You have different kind of extraction, so this is very nice.
True. Sometimes we have the crumble wax. Sometimes we have like more like
crumble
butter,
cookie, sugar wax. I see from you.
Wax.
Yes.
And we have some really nice flowers. We got some nice kosher kush, some Skittles, some Galenade.
You got some pretty killer kosher kush right here, man, that I had already got a chance to take a look at.
Yeah. Just wait for review. Just wait.
You guys won first place for the best netter hash, the Skittles wax, and third place in the best hybrid flower for the purple fruit punch last year. What was the effect? I mean, how did you feel about winning those awards?
Yeah, for me it was like, I didn't expect it, to be honest, because it was the first time we joined a big cup.
Right.
And yeah, I remember I heard my name, but I was so stoned and drunk at the moment. You know, I was like, "Yo, really, my name? Okay." And I was on the, I go on the, how you say, the audience thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just started speaking up, and I was so happy with the prize. And then I heard another time my name, and I thought, wow, it was first place. And I was like happy, you know, so many emotions at the time, because also of my father, you know, it feels like I really did something good to him.
There you go.
So it was a special moment for me.
Yeah. And it goes with the name. It's Family First, right?
Exactly, you know. And we had some really nice Skittle wax. It was orange flavor, really terpy.
Mm-hmm.
And we had the purple fruit punch. It was a hybrid. It was like really purple with a lot of crystals on it.
I think I still have picture in my phone.
Do you really?
I can show you.
Oh man, yeah.
Let me just check.
That's good stuff. What do you think about the future of legalization here? Do you think it's gonna ever get legal?
I know they are now working on a test.
Yeah, the experiment.
The experiment, the test.
Oh, there we go. Wait a second. I need to hear some comments on both of those. What do you think? Do you think that?
I think it's good, but not the way they do the test. I don't think it's a way. So then all the coffee shop will have the same weed, and then you cannot be different. You know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
What's going to set you apart from the?
It's like the same with
level.
restaurants.
Like when you buy cigarette. This is all the same. You cannot be special for have something good, or you have your special grower with your special genetics. This change.
Exactly.
You know, to me, just from my standpoint, being being normally the tourist that's coming here, it was one of the things that you looked forward to is vive la différence. And each one of the coffee shops, these guys have the best, rainbow cakes. These guys have the best narrow leaf. These guys have the best hash, right? And that's the beauty of it for me.
Yeah, that's what I also think.
Mia, what do you think? Is it more of a?
Well, anyway, it's only for 5 years, and they said then they're going to stop it. So.
Yeah.
There was
I don't think much of it.
One of the things when somebody first told me about the experiment, I remember there was a great quote from this guy named Meyer Lansky. And he was the accountant for the mafia, the ones that built Las Vegas. And he had a very famous quote, and he said, and the mafia in those days handled prostitution, gambling, drugs, and alcohol, right? Yeah. And his quote was, in one day, the government will control all of these, because they're the biggest racket, the biggest mafia in the world, right? And so when I heard about the experiment, my mind went into going down the road. Okay, well now we can control this part of it. If we can control this part of it, then it's just one easy step to take out the coffee shops, and then we are our own distribution network. In Canada, they're selling them out of liquor stores and out of drugstores that are large marketplaces that you can get. And, of course, you got delivery and then through the mail, and all of it is taxed, to the nines.
Yeah, I like the American style, how they do it over there.
Right.
Like I've been 1 year ago, I've been in US, in California. I've been to the cookie store, to the Jungle Boys. And it was really nice handled. It was like walking to an Apple store.
Yes.
And many different flavors.
Yeah.
And really nice how the workers treat you. You get one guy who just help you through all the store. Mm-hmm. And it's like really, you feel really welcome when you come there.
Yes.
And they're really educated.
It's right. It's good. It's more professional. It's more studies, test, everything. But even in US, there is legalized. I don't feel comfortable smoke joint in the street.
I smoked.
Specifically in downtown, everybody look at you. There, I cannot even smoke cigarette. Honest, everybody look at you like, hey, cigarette? You smoke? Yeah. What?
It's funny because it often goes the opposite direction when you're here. Because you'll have a lot of Dutch people will stare because they will hear me speaking English. And or because I'm American originally, I speak too loud, right? So people will, and so there's one of those. I learned that, but I've lived here long enough to now learn that. If I start getting stares, I go, "Oh, I need to lower my voice a little bit." Maybe I'm getting a little too excited. Let's see, what else was I gonna? So we talked about cannabis coming legal here. What did you think? Do you think it's going to be legal here soon, or do you think they're going to continue?
Man, I've been waiting since '67.
I heard
that'll be the day.
I heard an interesting comment from someone the other day, and he told me that he is more optimistic about it being legalized now than ever before. And the reason why is because with the worldwide thing going on and with economies tightening up, they're going to have to open up new avenues for people, any kind of person, to be able to make a way, be able to do other things. And legalizing cannabis and opening up, or decriminalizing it, really, is what they have to do, to decriminalize it, so you could open up the market so anybody could create all the products they want to create from it. That would just, can you imagine if that happened here? Where you could create all the products that you could get in California or in Colorado right now.
It's true, but I think there's always will be a black market, because then there is always one country where it's not legalized.
Sure.
And then
I think in California it's legalized, but they have the same black market as before.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And there's a big quality difference. There really is.
The government gets more money.
Tax
and for the people pay the license. So
and
one way is good.
But the prices are really, really high. The only coffee shop that they really have there's a place that's called Lowell Cafe. You might have been there when it was.
I went to, not to that one, but I was in Las Vegas to
Planet 13.
They were making a place for a coffee shop where you can smoke inside.
Are you familiar with Planet 13?
No.
Oh my goodness.
They opened up one in Los Angeles. I read a whole article about it, and that's really a coffee shop.
Yes. Well, this Planet 13 is like Disneyland as a coffee shop. Okay. It is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of square feet. It is a giant location, and it is the most fantastical place. When you walk through, it's a quick check-in, and then it's like a whole huge wonderland in front of you with a restaurant on the left-hand side, and you can take a tour and see how they make all of their edibles and their oils and their yeast things, and you can see all of it being done.
So American.
And you haven't even got
bigger.
No, and you haven't.
So big.
You haven't even got into where the weed is yet, right? The weed over here is.
It's like an apple
and it's
store.
and they have drones that fly through the sky that will big balloons, and they light up, and then they start doing a show in the sky. The last time I was there, they had a butterfly that guy was droning that flew. They have so much space, and he's just flying the butterfly around while you're trying to pick out the buds. And the amount of variety, but the prices are steep for American prices. Top shelf is $75 US, $75. There's hash, but most for an eighth, most of the extractions and things are like live resin, Rick Simpson oil, which you can get in all kinds of different things. And I mean, you saw it. Every kind of edible, gummies,
drinks,
suppositories, for men and women. It was like. It's crazy.
Crazy for candy, eatable like crazy.
But I have to say that it's not like the old school coffee shop smoking style in America.
No.
Like in Amsterdam, sitting, talking, like meeting people from all over the world. Have a chat, have a joint.
Also, this in San Francisco I visited, you can smoke inside one, I forgot the name.
Lowell Cafe is the one that's in California. And in there, it's just like a restaurant. And
we have the best asha, one of the best asha I smoke, I have to say. Even if in the past, some Skittle Temple Bowl, I smoked there, and I smoked inside. He let me smoke only with weed.
You gotta be pure.
Amazing. Really. Yeah. Really. I don't expect to find one of my best hash come from US, honest. But I have to say this is really nice.
I've had some fantastic things over there.
Yes, so this Temple Bowl, and how is made Temple Bowl? Like wrap it up, no?
I never saw them make it in
I think
Nepal.
it's finger hash. Okay. But I don't think she buy the as a Moroccan. I think it's like finger hash.
Looks more like that.
But wow.
Yeah.
Tasty, texture, high, perfect. Yeah. I'm so
Well,
happy.
I think that's a perfect lead into some of these little goodies that we have sitting over here. And we have a wide selection. And the first one that comes out, I'm going to hand to you because you say this so beautifully.
Tedrin.
Say it one more time. I like the way you say that. That's beautiful.
Tedrin.
I'm just going to hand a couple of samples all the way
Moroccan
around.
hash.
If you'll pass one over here. And we can take a peek at this. And this is from the Corner Coffee Shop.
Okay, Moroccan old school hash. Make it for sure with, I don't know, kief plant. Yeah.
See, this is one of the things I find fascinating because I'm like an absolute kindergarten child here.
Yeah.
You know, growing up in California, we didn't smoke hash.
It's not so many culture from hash in US.
We had,
like I think sometimes, why we don't import hash in US? That'd be very expensive with a big market. But I don't think so. This I like smoked flower, pure, and most of the people in US is healthy people, don't smoke even cigarette. And,
right. Well, that was the thing. We never smoked with tobacco.
For me,
everything was always pure.
My type of test is burning a little bit and check if it's bubbling. You see? This is bubbling.
It smells
that means
really
it's
nice.
oil. It's good. Make with it. It's good. Later you have to test. The final test is
Right. So the more bubble, the better. Then.
For me, yeah.
It's not always because I heard they also did tricks with hash.
With oil.
Yeah, with oil, so it looks like the hash is good, but it's actually shit.
What kind of oil do you do that with?
They use olive oil. I heard like many tricks, you know. But when you smoke, I think is the best test.
Right.
You see, it's bubbling. Smoke is the best test. The smell also for the bubbling. Try to let bubbling and not burning, because like this you burn the oil later.
And see again.
Now I burn too much to show in camera, but usually
When we grew up, if you ever got a chunk of hash, it was like you grabbed 4 friends and you grabbed either a safety pin or and bent one up, set it down, and a glass. And we would all sit on the table.
You smoke pure hash.
And we put that was the only way you ever smoked it, right? And so that was, again, it's
for hash. Can I take out the gloves?
I think we all decided because we're not handing anything. We're not handing anything to each other after we get it. So whatever you do in your own area, we should be okay with that.
I didn't burn my bit.
I take a piece and you squeeze like this, and later when you take back, don't have to let the finger dirty. Your finger have to be clean.
And as long as it's clean?
Like this is not cut with oil or something shit. Somebody cut with enne. I don't know, in Italy say enne.
Enne?
English, enne. The black thing, henna. Sorry.
Henna. Henna's an additive? I think you can hold that. We're just going to keep samples coming around here as we're going there. What's our next one we have? We have from, let's see, we've got this one from Espresso. This is the Cashmere?
The Cashmere, yeah. Cashmere.
Oh, yeah.
Look like black.
The Black Death. Take a look at this.
Sticky.
Sticky icky.
Well, this is the difference between how they press it. The Moroccan hashes are just pressed, but with this they have gone much further and broken the cell walls, so the oil comes out and you get a whole different kind of hash.
So is this a better hash? Is there a better hash? Is there a better process? One that you...
They say that like this you get more effect than if the crystals are just pushed together.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. See, I love this. I'm like a sponge. This is all new stuff for me. It's like fantastic.
For you,
I didn't know that.
Like Moroccan hash or
Which one was that?
the last?
I didn't see that one.
This one you have in your hand.
Well, it says cashmere, so I doubt it.
Yeah, smell like
You have this
Indian
one?
hash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
for
one for each. It's for sample each. It's the same.
Okay. Like that.
Okay, well, you've already got me interested in you, so
Well,
this can get
just
me a little
because
higher.
they
I'm going to
make
get
the
this
hash
one.
different.
I'm gonna open this one up.
That makes
Maybe
the
try a
smell.
little of this.
Too very soft also.
When I was smoking, I used to like the Moroccan hash more because it don't make you too high during the day. You can
Yeah.
still smoke it and function easy.
And make it through the day. So
Yeah.
it's more of like a hybrid rather than being
It's like
one or the other.
It's
I
nice.
don't know, when I was in India, I was very spoilt with all the Afghan and Bali, everything. And then when I came back here, the coffee shops, they only had Moroccan.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it. That's why I started wanting to make my
Okay,
own
yeah.
bags.
And that's
This
something.
one
It was
of
like you
motivation also, yeah.
you didn't you had to upgrade the experience. I'm going to make my own. Do you see any new products coming out? I mean, we have shatter, we have butter, we have live resin,
Yeah, diamonds.
diamonds,
yeah,
THC
it's
diamonds.
Like one of the newest things, I
Sauce.
guess.
Yeah.
Sauce and
with
diamond,
sauce.
Next to rosin, come sauce and diamond.
Yeah, look at the
Yes.
smile. Look at the
this
smile
is
on your
nice
face.
because it's a procediment to separate the THC with the terpenes, no? So
Yeah.
you have sauce, it's totally less THC and too much tasty, no?
Yeah.
Because it's terpenes and THC diamond. If you smoke alone, maybe you don't get not so many tasty, but a kick high.
Yeah.
So this is the nice things. It's very smart. Kashmir, honest, I make
I
a joint.
like rosin, except it's too sticky nearly to make
See,
a
that's
joint.
nice.
So then, yeah, you end up maybe dabbing it.
Yeah.
What I didn't like was
Now,
all
see,
this BHA.
I don't know if
No,
with all
that's
these chemical
solvent, no,
solvents, no.
Even the first time it's come outside, when you try directly, you don't like.
that's
Yeah.
nice.
Right.
Did you try that?
The Kashmir.
That was the cashmere.
No,
Yeah.
it's a little bit
That was-
long procediment for me to smoke, I think, because it's very soft. But I try to make fast. I wanna try because I'm curious.
Yeah, that's nice.
Because the grain, yeah. Now you find less in Amsterdam because the border with Morocco is closed, so it's less hash. The price is double it, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, there were
blah,
some big raids or some arrests or a big bust or something that happened.
blah. Yeah.
I read something about it. There was something that happened over the